Just jumping around a bit, guys. Trying to get out of this sleepy zone. So if you're just joining us, it's the 109 late rebuy, and today it's a 6 max. And it's the bubble right now. It's 664 for 9th, and there's 10 left. We're 3 of 10. And got both tables open, obviously, so observing the table on the right, seeing what everyone's doing. It's a pretty good field in terms of... I mean, it could have been a bit worse. There was a lot of decent players. There's still some decent players left. I mean, Legend Den is okay, and Buffet and Icy Venom and Connor, these guys are all okay, but I think it's not too bad. We've still got a couple of... Well, I mean, I can't say for sure. I don't really know these guys, but... So interesting that Ernest has just defended here, and I just don't think I can fold now. If he's got a6, it's bad luck. But we should just have the best hand so often. And it'd be too weird if he jammed. It'd be just too weird. I'd almost be thinking he trapped us with kings or aces, or... But even then, I just don't even know if he'd raise or jam. He might just let us barrel. Yeah. It actually probably looked like a 6-7 suited or 7-9 suited if he check jam there. He's not defending too wide, so he shouldn't really have too much of that in his range, especially in the bubble. He doesn't really want to get in a high variance spot, so he should be defending on the tight side. Even though he knows we're loose, he needs to defend on the tight side just because of the variance. And that was kind of a indication of the variance there, how it very quickly could have gone in with just a pair because he's kind of short. And if he did have a hand like 7-9, you know, it's a really bad spot for him to be potentially busting right in the bubble. Sugar Mike has been opening, we've been 3-betting him, I think, last 3 orbits in a row, I think, when he opened with 3-bet. Probably prefer he wins this one, but it's hard to run as good as Legend Den does. So if you are just tuning this part, 4 final tables already so far today, and not playing well. Was playing okay earlier, and then just the last couple of hours it all fell apart. Only slept a few hours, very tired, but no excuse really. Just made a couple of really big mistakes. Not so much big mistakes, but just mistakes at key stages. And then fortunately was running really good with it, getting a lot of big hands, but then the big hands letting us down when we needed them to. We lost the aces to Jack-9 off in a key pot. 10-Jack suited to 7-10 off. Ace-Queen to King-10. All on final table, sort of 3-4-handed. And we ran Jacks into Kings as well in the 11 rebuy. So hoping to make amends if we can here. And certainly... I think Buffet in the right here definitely is the sort of player that calls way too wide in this spot. He sometimes levels himself, you know, too much, and yeah, levels himself a bit much, and gets a bit too sucked in spots. He would definitely hate folding in this sort of spot. But then I guess who wouldn't? Who wouldn't hate folding in that spot? Good old Super Mario Brothers here, Icy Venom. Love it. And he's got this really interesting graph where he just went and just crushed for like almost $1 mil for his first 10k tournaments, and then just dumped a ton of chips and broke even ever since. It's really odd, isn't it? I mean, what is this here? I mean, did something happen? I mean, did he have a lobotomy? lose a piece of his brain because it's too sick. I mean, this is a crazy upswing. You know, who goes up on the 10k tournaments up almost a mil? You know, nobody does that, literally. And I don't think anyone has done that. And, you know, with multiple scores, and then just dump, you know, a couple 100k in tournaments over the next 5,000 tournaments is just sick. I mean, he must have had a really bad couple of, I don't know, W-Coop and Scoops. Must have just played everything and cashed nothing, and then just breaking even since. It's really weird. And that's over 50,000 games he's broken even for. Imagine this is just run good, you know? Imagine this is his normal chart where he just breaks even. Imagine he's a break-even player. When he had a 800k bit of run good. That's just... Yeah, it's mind-blowing if that's the case. So in she goes. He's probably going to have pairs a bit here, or the same hand. I guess you can have ace-queen. It's not a great situation, because he's jamming tight because Sega MK is so short. But at the same time, you know, we're getting good odds. I mean, even if he has like a jacks or something, I mean, with the pot odds and that sort of thing, we're calling. It's probably going to be the same hand most of the time. I don't think he's jamming just, you know, loose because of the ICM, because of the bubble factor. So we are in the flip. Ace on the river. Yeah. We're just not winning these key pots when we need to. One moment, guys. Yeah, I think... Let me think about this. I don't know if he jams if I 3-bet. Yeah, I think I'm just going to wait for Sega to bust now. You know, calling is okay, but... Yeah, man, we just got a hand that's going to be hard to get value with and easy to get owned. I mean, if we flop an ace, I mean, we check call on the ace high board. What do we got? An ace. What's he going to bet us with? A better ace, you know, if he's barreling. And I don't want to just go down the sort of a more higher variance route of 3-betting or you know, calling and getting fancy posts with check raises and stuff. I mean, so a pretty good chance here that we actually get 3-bet, I think, by Connor, just because of the bubble factor, and he's got a good stack for it. And actually, I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't, because we've been stealing his blind a lot. It's kind of weird he just calls. I mean, it's not weird. It's definitely not weird, but it does seem like he's got Queen 10 off or something. Jack Queen, something like that. So the bad turn cards for us is any 10 Jack or Queen. I guess, you know, I guess a 3 or a 5 and those sorts of cards as well, a little bit. Because you could have ace 5 or, you know, something like that. I don't think we can quite fold Queen 7, so it's a little bit wider than I thought he would be defending. And I guess the moral of the story is see about the flop one time. Obviously, I just tried to take sort of a low variance route. There's very little chance of us stacking off in that situation because if he barrels, we're not calling 3 streets. However, 2 streets I obviously ended up calling. And it's just because he's been folding to my raises. So I just didn't expect him to have that sort of hand. So it might mean that he's actually been calling my raises the rest of the time with... I mean, it might have been... He hasn't been calling. He's probably just had bananas. Potentially. Or maybe he's just a bit more confident in that spot because he's got us out chipped. If I had a c-bet flop, I guess he's probably just going to fold, but you know, he did have some back doors, so you can't be sure. But in any case, we're in the money now. So, but we did drop some chips with 6 of 9. Mostly through that ace king, losing to jacks, obviously. Ernest picked up a pretty big pot there. We would have had a nice stack, but we still got an M10 close to. Legend 10's pretty aggressive and calls my 3 bets and jams really disgustingly wide, so definitely a chance for us to get some value. Yeah. In fact, grotesquely wide. So I will just jam this one in. I don't think there's too much point just 3-betting. I mean, we're not that deep. And he could still call with some hands we do pretty well against. See if we can win this flip. 3 ball. Wow, we just couldn't win any of the key flips today, could we? So it's kind of frustrating because we had a glimpse of run good where we got sort of smacked by the deck and had aces and kings a bunch, jacks once as well, I think, and then just a lot of hands that just didn't hold up in the end. So it's actually kind of a disappointing day in the end because we had some multiple deep runs. And yeah, I mean, poker's a game of many shades and colours. And today was I don't know, it was kind of a dark grey with a little bit of orange mixed in, I think. So there was a glimpse of, brightness. There was a glimpse. We did win the 33-1 rebuy one add-on, but it was a tiny pool, and overall quite disappointing. Profitable day, but just disappointing because of the way we sort of... I think a couple of my mistakes, the way I played hands is what has made me sort of feel a bit negative about today. I mean, we did lose those key flips. There's not a lot we could do about them. We did make some really nice 3-bets and 4-bets, I think, at important stages earlier. So that's one positive, and it's important not to beat yourself up too bad. It's certainly some excuse that I'm tired and been playing for 12 hours now and only had a few hours sleep, so I'm a little bit kind of cloudy with my thinking. But at the same time, it's just sort of frustrating. I thought I was going to end up shipping, or getting heads up in 3 or 4 tourneys, and to only get like a first, third, 6th, and 9th is pretty annoying. And we chopped a tiny one, the high-low earlier, but yeah, it's kind of frustrating. But like I said, it's poker, and it comes at you in many different, especially online, comes at you many different, one day you're hot, one day you're cold, one day you're in between, one day you're hot and cold, and today was a bit of hot and cold and mixed in with some bad play, which leaves me wanting revenge tomorrow. But first, going to have to try and get a bit of a mind reset and get back in a good frame of mind. So chill out for the rest of the day and try and get, try and freshen up and come back ready for some more action tomorrow. I'll catch you guys then.